Fixed it. Easy fix. Google, thank you. Okay. We in there. We in there. So apparently my bit rate from OBS was too high. Therefore, Twitch couldn't handle the high bit rate, and it told me the bit rate was too low. So a 1000 error is because I have too high a bit rate, and Twitch can't handle that. So we back. I don't know if that means that I have two streams that are like a minute or however many seconds long, and then they got pushed over to YouTube and then ended, or if this is a consecutive stream to where if I stop the stream with OBS and then start it back using the same key, that the stream continues and picks up where it left off. I don't know. I guess I'll figure that out when I go back to my YouTube and to Twitch later. But DJ Rizzy? Rob? Thanks. Let's preview this project though. Let's bring it back up to real-time editing. I've got on far left, you can see my top-down cam, and I'm using an Xbox controller to preview this project. Let me actually pause all of my streams so I'm not just using up all my bandwidth here. And let me pause this one. I can't pause OBS. Can I disable the playback? No, probably not. In the next window, I have Google Street View and Google Earth. In the window next to that, I have my other accessory monitor, which obviously is too little for you to really see what's going on over there, but all of the details and all of my tools that I use when editing assets in the engine. And then on the bottom right is my over the shoulder cam, so you can see that this is all happening in real time. And let's get back into the project. So we're going to do a quick run through. I guess I didn't need to log into Twitch after all on my phone, because I guess I forgot my password or something. Well, let's get our girl. And I've got a lot of content in here that isn't going to stay, but I'm not sure what the performance is going to be like while I have all of this stuff running all at once. But here's a work in progress of some buildings for Memphis METAS. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that's going to load. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the comment too. That definitely let me know that you guys could at least see that I was live. There's some work that I need to do on these buildings, but you can see some of the photogrammetry in the background, which will all be replaced by real meshes. And this is the progress. Oh, Unreal Process crashed. So let me figure out which one of these is running. And I hope that, I'm sure there's a couple of things in here that didn't save. And I don't know why it's opening up a second window. I'm confused about that. Either way, we can close it and cancel that. I must have had two instances open at once. Which is insane that my computer can handle that. So the Google Earth imagery, satellite imagery is what's supposed to be on the ground right here. So let me just do a quick fly through, which would be much faster. As you can see, there's that imagery. And then Google Earth View. Oh, okay. Let me close viewport number 2. We don't need viewport 2 right now. That's one of the reasons that the loading was really weird. Hold on. Did this open a second project? It did. I don't need 2 instances open. Okay. Okay, so Street View. Got the billboard here. And then this is University of Tennessee. What is this? The Health Science Center. Few details that I haven't added to it just yet, but I think that's, you know, it's looking pretty solid. You know, and this is all using Google Street View to reference the design. A lot of details to add. Let me turn off the photogrammetry. There's Sun Studio, work in progress on Sun Studio. So let's go take a look over there. The American Cancer Society building, which is here. And I think the window detail is really what brings this whole thing together. Sun Studio. As you can see, we brought the logo in there, but there's no, I've got no materials on it just yet. But we have a general, I call it a silhouette, like basically the footprint of the building, plus its shape, its general shape with some materials. But I'll continue over, and I'll turn off cesium for a second. It's gonna look a little funny, but you can definitely see that I've been adding some details, you know, and everything is interactable, right? The buildings that I think won't take a whole lot of time, I haven't added some of the detail to it because I wanted to push forward to some of the buildings that I thought would take up more time. So, you know, there's this one, and I've got to, that'll be an easy fix to bring those windows up, but I just now noticed that there's a slight difference to my windows, and I can do a polygroup edit to fix that. I'm in the middle of doing some booleans on this building. But I do like how I do like the detail that I'm adding to it. I'm gonna go ahead and do a polygroup edit to this really quick. And we're gonna do a push pull and get rid of just that block. And then we will merge these. accept and save. Okay, performance is so much better, and I was so confused at why. Like, this is a very expensive GPU, and it's a workstation GPU, and I was having weird performance issues, and it's because I didn't realize I accidentally opened 2 instances of this project, and the project is 150 gigs worth of information in it. Dominoes, this is one that I thought was really cool. So I use Affinity Designer to design the logos, and then I use SketchUp to extrude the logos, and then I use Datasmith to export from SketchUp to into the engine these, like, the signage. So here's an example. You got Dominoes, and if I pull up full screen here, let's go to the Domino's building. You know, everything is, it's about as accurate as I can make it. This sign probably needs to be a little higher, but you know, there's Domino's, and then here is the Dr. Nathan Essex, Southwest Tennessee Community College, Nursing, Natural Science, and Biotechnology building. It's a mouthful, and I thought I was going to have a challenge bringing this signage in here, but I figured it out first try. Again, Affinity Designer to just create the text and convert it to curves, export from as an SVG, convert that to DXF in on Google. I just use a SVG to DXF converter. Brought that into SketchUp as an import, and then extruded that text. Did a Datasmith export, imported that Datasmith file into Unreal Engine, and then I used the deform warp tool to get this text to bend around this curve. So very, very much satisfied with how this is coming along. If I go G and I turn on some of the photogrammetry, you can kind of see how I'm placing meshes over the top of the very horrible looking photogrammetry. So there's photogrammetry for reference of Sun Studio. This is about as high quality as the geometry gets and the satellite imagery. So I use that as a reference, and then I will bring in some 3D meshes, and I'll build walls around that reference, and then I'll texture it. But I'm using all built-in, the built-in modeling tools from Unreal Engine. I'm on 5.4. No, I'm on 5.5. I will not upgrade to 5.6. I've decided that 5.5 is where I'm going to stay, so that I can maintain compatibility with my plugins, and so that I can just keep a consistent project, because I've duplicated this project 5 times. And again, each project is 150 gigs. So if I go into my, let me turn on my other server real quick. My other server actually is my son's computer, my 5-year-old Zeppelin. But when I upgraded my system to be able to do architectural visualization and have fewer hangups in the engine, I put my 2 2080 Ti SLIs in his system to upgrade his. And I kept all of the hard drives that I had in that system, because I was using it as a server in there. So now I think once it boots up, I should be able to access all of my files. Let's have a look. Yep. And it loads up really fast. So I have yet to calculate the number of terabytes that I have on here. One of these is 7 terabytes, almost 8 terabytes of space. But this project alone is 150 gigs. And this is just one section that I'm currently working on. Actually forgot to add a floor so that this could be dark in there. So let me do that real quick. That's funny. So it kind of doesn't matter where I put this. I just want to close this floor out. I want to close this building so that it appears to be a little bit darker in there. What are you planning to use this work for? So I am creating a digital twin of downtown Memphis with the purpose of it being a video game, but also for it to be a working digital twin for use in urban planning, proposals, simulations by the city, as well as like architectural use cases, corporate workflows based around city planning. So the primary use of this project was for digital twin technology, so that Memphis can ultimately become a smart city and have all these sensors throughout the city connected to this project. That way we can have a hub set up to where, there's multiple screens, and if there's a fire in a building, we should get a notification. It should send a notification to the fire department, but they can pull up let's say they have a few seats to the software. They can pull up on their hub a virtual visualization of the city in real-time 3D, and they could see exactly which floor that fire is on and create a plan, right, to find an entry point, right? So it's all kinds of I could talk for hours about the use case when it comes to IoT sensors. We all have IoT sensors in our house to some extent. There's smart lights, Ring doorbell, smart appliances that you can get updates on your phone from, and even sometimes your car can send you updates like where you parked. When you step out of your car, you can get a notification about where you parked, right? So IoT sensors would be in the form of heat sensors that are in parking spaces that tell this digital twin which parking spaces are occupied and which aren't. And then for anybody that has access to the twin on the consumer side or on the enterprise side, they can either access that data to figure out where the best parking spaces are before they get somewhere, or use that to be able to make more informed decisions in terms of event planning and city development, transportation, that sort of thing. So there's a lot that's more practical for the enterprise side of this project, which is why I'm coined the term digital twin Memphis. But we're also using this as a video game so that when architectural firms decide they want to bring new developments in the project prior to breaking ground, those new developments can get updated in the game so that the consumers, general public, can go in and vote on the new development or experience the new development before it exists, right? And that's a great way to kind of get the city excited, like the residents. So aside from that, we're looking to incorporate a lot of IP. And the traditional way to bring IP into a video game would be to pay and to do like royalty sharing. I think, you think Fortnite and all these different IPs that they have, there's some sort of agreement that they have. But what we're doing is we're approaching this from a localized perspective and offering naming rights to local businesses to help fund the project. So another way that we're planning on using this is to do a lot of marketing. So I want to offer the game free to play to everyone, and then offer DLCs and features that can be purchased, and use this in terms of like tourism. So if it's free to play, you'll have all these businesses that might say, hey, we want to be featured in the game, but we want these features. We want you to be able to get a job and go on in the interior of this building and have these sort of interactions with the NPCs. And then we want to do product placements and so forth, since this is a physical one-to-one scale recreation of the entire city. So we're planning on going from, like, the current trend of marketing is voice and artificial intelligence. We're pushing forward with digital twin technology because eventually people will have a digital twin human version of themselves that they can use in the metaverse. And it's so far-fetched because aside from that, what most people would want to use this for initially is virtual production. You want to film some basketball commercial for the Memphis Grizzlies, and you want to be able to, let's say, do some crazy stunt off of the bridge. Instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to close the bridge, you use a photorealistic replica of the city, and you go into a virtual production environment where there's LED walls or a fully enclosed LED cylinder of walls, and you film with real cameras that are tracking the Unreal Engine environment. I don't know how familiar y'all are with those types of things, but my whole thought process was there are no major Marvel movies in Memphis. And because of that, not because of that, but that's primarily because nobody has created Memphis, Tennessee the same way that people have recreated New York City. New York City has a fully modeled 3D environment where, Hong Kong or King Kong or whatever, and what's the name of those movies? Superheroes can destroy buildings and jump off the buildings and swing from buildings and do all this crazy stuff in places like New York in the movies because someone has gone out of their way to design the entire city in 3D. So in my mind, if I go ahead and take the initiative of doing a digital twin of the city, not only am I able to start pushing towards creating a smart city for the city of Memphis, but also we can use this in virtual production environments and have major film studios decide to do projects now that the assets are kind of readily available. So very ambitious, one-man team right now. Having a lot of conversations with people who want to be involved, looking to raise funds, working with architecture firms to bring their building information models into my environment for them to be able to present and view and interact with, but also to help fill the environment. For now, I will be just modeling this all by hand using the photogrammetry. Real quick, I need to go to my channel and share this stream with a buddy of mine. So I will get started modeling in here in just a second. So let's copy this link and then find my buddy Cole and send this to him so he can tune in. Super ambitious. Phase 1 of the demo that I want to launch in less than a year is going to consist of South Main Arts District. It'll cost me about $350,000 to get that 3D scanned so that I can have more accurate exterior, interior, and MEP, which means mechanical, electrical, plumbing, because I do also kind of want to be able to have data for that for the city included in the models, but most of that is not going to be included in the game. So the enterprise side will have more accurate information, whereas the game is going to be just like built walls and textures without any of the MEP, which I think is mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'll have any of that in the game part. And the enterprise version will have more detailed building information model assets that the city can access. You know, if someone's opening a restaurant in a 100-year-old building, they're going to want to be able to go in here and like test out their ideas before they spend any money or any significant amounts of money. But this is just one portion. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see parts of South Main that I started working on, more specifically arcade restaurant and Memphis escape rooms. But I used a totally different method to design those buildings. They were all done in SketchUp, as well as like some parts of Mud Island, Hernando de Soto Bridge, and the Memphis Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, aka Bass Pro Shops. But this section of you know, like Marshall, Union Avenue, I've built all in the engine. So let me show you how I did that and how I am doing that. And we'll start with SLIM+HUSKY'S. So before I continue modeling out this building, let's first navigate to it in my map. And then I'm going to go to Google and search SLIM+ Husky's pizza logo. I'm going to click on images, and then we're going to see if we can find a large. And then any SLIM+HUSKY'S variation of a logo, I'm going to copy and bring into Affinity Suite. I hope my music's not too loud. I think it might be. No, it's just loud to me. Thank you. Thank you. Rizzy, am I pronouncing that right? DJ Rizzy? So SLIM+HUSKY'S, let me copy this image into an artboard. Let's go into designer persona, and I believe that this is going to be just a PNG image. And if I go to pretty much Reese, accept cookies, we're looking for SLIM+HUSKY'S large logo. Let's copy this. And it's probably going to be a little longer of a wait for me to vectorize this, unless I can get to their website and find an SVG of either of these. But let's go SLIM+HUSKY'S Pizza. I see their website, and let's see, open image in new tab. What do we got? SVG. Let me save this, and we'll go into my server, graphic design, clients, companies, new folder, Slim plus Huskies. And then we've got the primary SVG, which is awesome. Shout out to all of the brands that actually use SVGs, because not all of them do. And let's see. Let's click through a few pages and see what comes up. It's possible that the other one is embedded in here somewhere, and it's possible that it's not. Looks like they did have it a Shopify and sold either merch or, man, that piece looks fire. I'm gonna have to go there. Or that's how they accepted online orders at some point. Press. And let's do a, I don't know if I can like go through their media, but let's just Google it real quick. Whoops, open image in new tab. And this is a PNG. I don't think there is an SVG of it, and that's okay. I can go into my server and open, let's go server. I think it's on my server. It could be in software, fireworks. If anybody's familiar with Adobe or Macromedia, Fireworks is one of the oldest discontinued design programs out there, and I still use it instead of using AI tools or going to a website to convert assets to an SVG or to a vector. I still use Fireworks. Cole, if you're watching right now, give me just a minute. I am going to vectorize a logo real quick. Let me save this. And we're going to copy that path. I don't know that I can just paste it in here. Nope. So let's go to, all right, we're gonna have to get there somehow. It's gonna be on network location, home. Projects, expansion, libraries. Nope. Why is it not showing in my network locations? That's weird. Okay. I think I'm just gonna have to move this over to the desktop real quick. And let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's been a while. So first, I'm just gonna make this really big. And then Control Alt F. Okay. Make it just a little bit tinier. Yeah, this is huge. 33,000 pixels. And this is the problem with Fireworks. It is RAM limited. It's RAM limited. And I have a ton of RAM, but Fireworks can't use any more than a specific amount of RAM. So eventually, let me reopen this and do that again. Eventually, Affinity needs to be able to handle this same type of task with ease. So let's go Fireworks. And we won't make it so big this time. But let me show you this process real quick, because this will help bring some detail into the model that gives it more context. Yeah, that's good. And let's see, select similar. I think. Yep. Modify mark, convert to path. Select similar. Convert to path. And let's see if this actually... nope, the whole thing was a little too big. Let's bring it down like this and see. Fireworks is running out of memory. Of course it is. All right, but it fixed it. Cheap viewers. Nah, I'm good, buddy. Super straight on cheap viewers. I've never paid a red cent for any advertising in my entire life for my own work. All right, let's give this a thick. Let's actually, never mind. Let's actually just keep it solid. And then we will save this, Control Shift save. Hold on, Control Shift, Alt Control F to fit, Control Shift save. And we're gonna save this as a Photoshop document. That's what I love about Fireworks. I can save it as a Photoshop document. And then nope, don't need to save it. Let's go to the desktop and right click that Photoshop document. Or actually I can just open it. It'll open with Affinity Publisher. And now I can ungroup this. We're going to set that to a swatch. And then set the stroke to 1. And then Control Shift Alt S. We're going to save this as an SVG. And we will save this in SLIM+HUSKY'S folder. Oops. Copy, save. Okay, I can close this. Cancel. And that's also an SVG, so that'll be easy to modify as well. Let me go now to SVG to DXF converter. Select the file from my folder. And let's find the SVG version. Honestly, I think that's it. Hit convert. Let's see, conversion credits, day limit of 10. Have I done a lot of conversions? Oh man. Let's see if there's another website. Let's choose the same file and then convert. I don't know if this conversion is going to do the same as the other website, which is trusted, but we're going to test it right now. Download it to the exact same folder. And then let's open up SketchUp. Dude, I'm opening up a lot of stuff right now. While that's opening, let me go ahead and grab the SVG version of this logo. This is why they pay the big bucks for this type of work. Now, this is a little more complex and I'm not quite ready to jump into modifying this yet. So let's hold off on that. We only need the facade. So let's open an architectural SketchUp window. Let's close all this stuff that we don't need right now. File, import. We're going to import the DXF of the SLIM+HUSKY'S logo. And it imported way bigger than it should. So let's scale it down. And then scale it down again. And I don't even need the pizza part. So let's take all of this and delete it. It looks like everything was so big that it gave me 2 lines. So if I just draw a rectangle here, right click, intersect faces with selection. Whoops, grab a line. Okay, intersect faces with selection. It's gonna take a minute. All I have to do now is grab all the text. Right click. Can we invert selection? Select, invert, and delete. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, let's do this again. Intersect. And then we'll grab everything we need and just group it and then delete the rest. So group, Control All, delete, Control X. Okay, Control Shift B. And let's explode all of this. Now we'll come out and move this and rotate it. So this is how I bring graphics and signage into the project. We'll do a nice little push-pull. Actually, do Control A, weld edges. Maybe. No, it's probably not necessary. Give ourselves a tiny little push. And since this is all just going to be one, basically one color, all I have to do now is let's add some points that we can now use to center this on the appropriate axes. So let's move this from the center. Okay, if I can grab this in, there we go. Grab it at the center. And then let's see if we can place this at the center. There we go. Now let's go remove those little points that we created as references. And then let's draw a line. Let's get rid of this dude. Let's draw a line. Uh-oh, hold on. From here. Okay, little issue. There we go. Now we'll double click in there, and Control Shift A is the shortcut that I have to change my axes. Okay, escape, yes. And then we're going to rename this component. Slim plus Husky signage. And it is indeed a component. Make sure there are no groups in there. All right, that's it. So I'm going to save this, purge unused, and we're going to copy my folder location. And then we're going to save this as an SKP file. And then do a Datasmith export into the same folder. Close SketchUp, minimize that. And now I can go, let's make sure we have everything saved. Control Shift S before we import anything. Datasmith file import. And then let's find that folder and then load in the Datasmith file inside of imported assets and signage. This is going to put this at the world origin. And then I can grab this and actually just delete it. Actually, let's cancel. Hold on. Or I can go okay, there we go. Let's say we want to place it here where this is. I wonder, before I do that though, let's go into modeling mode and edit the pivot of this. Turn off my 45 lock. Okay, accept, and then we're going to edit the pivot again, and then let's go back. Nope, it's got to be front. Accept. All right, so this is my pivot. I'm going to copy that location with Shift right click, and then go back to my SLIM+HUSKY'S and Shift paste location. Now I got to do the same thing with the rotation. Copy the rotation, paste the rotation. And this should be right up against the wall. It is. All right, and then I move it down into place, and then I resize it. So one of the issues or mistakes that I made was not stretching the text out. And that's an easy fix. What I would have to do is, let's go back to, let's go to SketchUp. Really cool thing is I can re-import same asset. So let's grab all of this and let's move it, let's say on the green axis. And we're just gonna guesstimate. This is not gonna be a perfect move. So let's say about there. 1 foot 6. So let's do 1 foot 6, enter. I'm pretty sure there are procedural ways to do this much faster, but when you're in the middle of it, you just got to do the work. All right, so then I'll go in here and add those little lines, those little reference meshes. Bring this down behind it and then do a move from the center of this line. And then go back into this so that I can reposition my origin. So let's grab a line here, then go back into my mesh and then Control-Shift-A. Okay. Yes, I want to update, delete, save, purge unused, Datasmith export. And then we are going to just overwrite the existing Datasmith file. And then I think all I should have to do is, let's minimize this and let's go find the static mesh in my browser and then re-import and then scale it. And then let's just look at the reference there and let's just, that's so, so nice. Oh, it's so good. And it's geometry. Okay, exactly how we like it, exactly what we want. As for this, I can split it and then we will be able to move these reference meshes out of the scene or just out of the way. And then let's have a quick run, walk, trek from here. Xbox controller on. Cool. See, like it's looks simple. It sounds simple. It is simple if you understand the tools. But this is mostly the process for the entire project to bring these buildings in here. So typically what I'm doing is if I turn on off game mode, turn off game mode. Let's see. I don't remember which part of the photogrammetry I was using, but there's a lot of it on right now. Let's try to figure that out real quick. Let's turn everything off. And it's got to be one of these closer to the end. I believe game mode is turned off. Game mode. Not there it is. All right, let's turn our buildings off. And let's turn all of this off. There's SLIM+HUSKY'S photogrammetry from Google Earth. And that's the quality of the textures that are from the satellite imagery. So I think Google Earth, the Google car, and the 360 camera does I forget what is, a reality capture with a little bit of LiDAR to figure out the average shape of the building. And then there's satellite data. Maybe some of the reality capture also grabs imagery and tries to best fit it to the mesh, but I believe there's also satellite data from up above that also merges imagery onto these meshes, which is why you'll see like stretching, right? Because if the imagery was from the camera, then you wouldn't see any of the like top down information, I think, like in the images, so if I look at it from here, I think I can see that the images are taken from up above while the 3D mesh is generated from the car street view. And that's why the images are kind of off, kind of stretched and in a weird place. Okay, but the best that I can probably explain that. So essentially what I do is I draw a box around the building, and then I use blocks to do a Boolean, and I'll show you an example of that right here. So I draw the general shape of the building, I draw the footprint, and I bring the bottom of the base of the building into the ground a significant amount, just in case the landscape like dips below the floor on a different level of the building. And then I'll grab a bunch of rectangle meshes and I'll place those rectangles in the average spot where the imagery shows that there is a window, door, or some kind of opening. And then I'll use Google Images or Google Street View to then better position those boxes. And then I'll do a Boolean operation to subtract those boxes from my walls. And from that, I then throw in a floor, and then I'll start to add some details, and then I'll add textures. I'll throw in a ceiling, a rooftop, and then I'll put windows and doors, and I'll call it a day. And that's what pretty much gets me to this point. And then I'll use some blueprints for some of these doors so that they can be a little more dynamic. So real quick, I do need to make a change to this. So what I need to do is go into modeling mode and polygroup edit. We'll grab these 3 polygroups. And I think we're going to do a push-pull operation. The only downside to this is I can't get an exact height. But what I can do, let's see. Yeah, we're going to have to reconfigure that anyways. So let's grab these and reposition them manually. Use control to lock it to a node. And then grab those faces. And then merge the faces. And this is going to fix. Where's this building at? It's right here. This is going to fix my height, my window height issue. Okay, but now I have to go, let's accept that. Let's grab this and polygroup edit. And let's see if we can isolate my selections, just these. And then we will move my gizmo down to this corner and then use that as a reference to lock it to this height over there. Now I need to reproject my UVs for the building. I'm going to do an auto fit align. I'm going to set it to 250, 250, 250, and then 45-degree lock my rotation to make sure that all of my bricks are facing the right way. And polygroup editing is my best friend. I do have Blender, but I'm modeling with Unreal Engine's built-in tools because I can't easily bring the photogrammetry that I have with cesium into Blender at the level of detail that I need and at the speed that I need to be able to do some of these operations on top of the photogrammetry in real time. So you're right, I have Blender, it's down here. I've got multiple versions of Blender. I even have a project with the photogrammetry in it. But when I open the photogrammetry in Blender, Blender runs at 10 frames a second with this much photogrammetry in it. And we're talking, if I turn on, try doing this in Blender. Absolutely fucking not. So I agree. But the built-in modeling tools has prevented me from having to go software to software. And it's made the workflow 1,000 times faster. Although my topology is not going to be as incredible and the detail is not going to be as incredible. I don't need it. But I do not disagree. You're absolutely right. I am a psychopath and I'm challenging myself to use Unreal's built-in modeling tools so that I can use that alongside cesium and the photogrammetry. I know I can bring photogrammetry into Blender. I've done it. But the amount of time that it takes to just load the program up with that photogrammetry saved in it, let alone editing it in real time, is just unbelievably stupid. So this has been the easiest way. I can just turn it on and off like no problem. In Blender, I turn off a section of this photogrammetry, it has to process. So it's like loading all of this in real time. Like if I were with my GPU, you know, an A6000 GPU can load like all the entire Cyberpunk map into memory and with ray tracing, and I won't have any issues, right? So I found this to be the best method for modeling all of my assets. Whereas I have used Blender, but damn it, the time it takes to just get like one building done is limited by my ability to bring that photogrammetry in quickly. It sucks so hard. But brother, I have that, but Cesium, again, Cesium is provided by Google, and the Google, the level of detail of the textures in Google are limited. So there's I forget the name of the extension. It doesn't give me the full resolution of the imagery, the satellite imagery, which I absolutely need to have precision in these Boolean operations for placing windows, doors, and whatnot. So with Unreal Engine, although I have the Cesium data, I also have static mesh. Let me open it. Let me turn it all on so you can see what I mean. And it might take a second to process it. Okay, so aside from Cesium, you see how choppy this is? But this is in Unreal Engine with all of it turned on and selected. Now, Cesium's, like I am using Cesium, but on top of that, I'm using photogrammetry with much higher image resolution that Cesium doesn't offer. And Cesium doesn't offer it because, or Google doesn't offer it because the way that they load their tiles so quickly, they limit the resolution of the textures tremendously. Like, look at that. I can't even see what I'm looking at there. This is Cesium. I don't even know what that is. I go to my photogrammetry though. We found a good spot. And I can actually I can make out like what that is. That says Memphis. Like I can actually make it out. And that's extremely helpful when trying to do these Boolean operations, because with Cesium, most of this right here is just like blurred together, and I can't even tell where these windows like start and end. So yeah, dude, I'm on board. Like I have done 100 programs. Like this does not look as crisp with Cesium, and then to go into Blender and extract all of this from Cesium and try to run it in real time. I'm building a digital twin of downtown Memphis, and for right now, you know, here's the Cesium, or yeah, this is the Cesium model, or this is my photogrammetry that's not Cesium because it's high resolution. And then here is the building that I created on top of it. All right, so I'm doing a digital twin of the entire city, and right now I'm focused on a particular section so that I can get like the medical district. And I'm building it's going to be a game and an enterprise solution for architecture and some other things. I will type out a link that you can go check out. reddit.com/r. And there will be some government related use cases. I'm working on a pitch right now to get the city involved. I have some investors interested in backing, as well as some local businesses looking to secure a naming rights deal so that I don't have to exclusively focus on paying for IPs. And if I can get enough local businesses to secure naming rights, then I'd imagine some of the bigger businesses will be interested in also doing a naming rights or sponsorship deal, since so many local businesses will be involved. as opposed to me paying like revenue sharing to have real like vehicle brands in the game. But it's going to be simulation. You can think like The Sims, as well as I'm going to use this environment and work with some mod teams to port this over to Fortnite, Minecraft, BeamNG Drive, some older Call of Duty levels. We're going to try a Cyberpunk port session for skateboarding, and a few other games that we're going to bring this environment into. And then I'll have some stylized versions as well. So I'm pretty impressed so far with how that turned out. Let's take a walk around. I know I got some planes in the sky somewhere. Too cloudy, can't see them. Doing a general footprint of these buildings with some simple textures. I need to add collisions to some of these garage doors. And just going one business at a time. I have an NDA for part of the reason that I'm focusing on this environment, so I can't really give too much insight to it. But overall, this is a Memphis metaverse project, and we're bringing downtown Memphis into this, the engine, for about a bunch of different reasons. All right, let's get to building. So SLIM+HUSKY'S, let's pull that back up. And any business that does not secure their naming rights, I will have a like a parody name for their business. Think Grand Theft Auto and how they take real places and give them like similar names, but they're not the real IP for those businesses that they design in their likeness. I will have real local businesses involved, and I've got a few restaurants that are already on board. But if any business decides they don't want to be involved, we will rename their business and probably add a tint to the window so you can't see inside, go inside, and it won't be like staged. The interior won't be staged. The players won't be able to access the interior. I need to probably cut this building is probably the best way that I'm going to do this. Let's look around it real quick to see. Looks like it's only the front. And just a small portion on the side. So the easiest way to do that would be to go into modeling mode. So there's so many reasons why Blender would be superior for this, but navigating back and forth between Blender and the engine, there's also this need to like translate the scale. Even though this is like 1:1 scale, when you export out of Unreal, sometimes it changes the scale and it forces you to like rescale it when you bring it back in, and it's not always 100% accurate. So definitely hate that. Hate it a bunch. Let's turn on that photogrammetry real quick. I gotta figure out which one it is. There she goes. Let's turn off. I know that it's one of these. That one. There we go. Ain't no, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way this goes up to right there. So I'm gonna bring this about here. And then bring this all the way down. All right, let's turn that building Boolean back on. All right, let's pull it out just a little bit. You know, I considered it, but I've been in the middle of like a crazy custody battle, and I've hardly gotten out of the house to take part in a lot of the Unreal Engine events that have happened here. But no, I've worked on a lot of my own projects, and this project was not initially meant to be a game, but I decided to just go ahead and make it one, because that was the easiest way for me to get exposure. Because I keep talking about a digital twin and the enterprise stuff, like nobody's gonna care, and they're gonna be like, what is that? I don't get it. Everybody sees this and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, Memphis Grand Theft Auto before Grand Theft Auto 6, or we got a Fortnite Memphis before Grand Theft Auto 6. You know, everybody just knows about video games, and video games are the trend right now. So I only incorporate the gaming aspect of this because it gets the views, it got me on the news, it got me in front of architecture firms that have hired me, and it's getting eyes on the project for people who want to experience it as a game. And so no, I've never worked with other firm or other UE projects. I mean, before I do this Boolean, to see if I can move this down. No, I really can't. There's only so far I can go with it. But let's say with it being there, I can then pull this up a little bit. Let's see where it is. Yeah, so I'll do a lot of like eyeballing here, because technically you're never gonna just like sit there as a character and pick out all the details, and that's okay with me. Let's see, project UVs, auto line fit 250. But being able to manage UVs and kind of do everything in real time and have a finished product without having to copy materials and assets over to Unreal, then recalculate normals, it actually kind of works in my favor to avoid Blender for this. And I'm not focused on optimization at the moment. That'll be something I build a team for at a later date. But I just need to get the city like designed in a way that I can use to start proposing and pitching and raising funds. I'm gonna copy and paste both of these. For one, I will do a Boolean intersect. Okay, and then for the other, I will do a Boolean A minus B difference. With that, what I can do is I can go and find my brick texture, my black brick texture, which I've used recently on this building. So let's copy that. It should already be at 250, but I'm going to double check. I'm just going to redo the UV projection to make sure. to delete the materials and do a edit material, select all, assign active, accept, and then again I'm going to edit materials and then delete. So I do a little bit of optimization, but not a whole bunch. Now I do want to, I'll adjust that brick texture a little bit later. And I think that's a good start. We just need to, let's just like temporarily modify this. And then I am going to use my AV plastic and we will change the color of that orange one in a minute. So edit material, accept. So if I go in here and go to swatches, I can see what color that material is. Let's go back to Unreal. And then let's duplicate this and change it to SH orange. Okay. So edit materials again. And then we're going to use the volumetric brush. This should select everything for that orange or for that plus symbol. And then we will add the orange version, assign active material, accept, and then go modify the orange. Yeah, I didn't want to open that, but I do want to diffuse this to be HSL 3795 54 F9A31A. Maybe it's my sunlight. F9A31A. That's better. It's hex sRGB. Okay. Escape. And that gives me the correct color. And that looks fantastic. So we got a black brick at the bottom. Oh, I need to adjust my brick. Edit. So let's redo that UV projection. Auto align fit. 250, 250, 250. And then we have to rotate this one by 90. Hell yeah, brother. I got an art station. I don't have an art station. I used to do like generalist 3D modeling and hard surface modeling. That was a very long time ago. So depending on the complexity of the models, the answer is yes, I can. But I focus mostly on architectural related models that don't have complex curvature and surfaces. So I don't do like characters or anything like that at the moment. I do model a lot of my props. So like anything that is from a mechanical perspective, like appliances and gadgets. If you go to my YouTube, there's a digital twin bedroom model that I did where I basically modeled everything that was in the room, and it took me a very long time, but I try to stay away from that type of modeling because I absolutely despise of it right now. So YouTube is the same thing. You're on my YouTube, so you can go to my videos and kind of see what's in there. But wherever I can, I now try to just download assets so that I don't have to model them. And obviously I can't download a downtown Memphis because it doesn't exist, not in the fidelity that I needed. Polygroup edit. I'm gonna do this number. Oh snap. Let's only select those vertices and see if that makes a difference. No, it doesn't. All right, so let's grab this. Are there faces down there? I think there are. Yep, and then we're just gonna have to do push pull. Thank you, thank you. Where are you located, by the way, before you go? And like, what is it that brought you to my channel? Unreal Engine. Like, I want to know like what how the algorithm, how you think the algorithm got me to you. But I am in Memphis, which is why this is a Memphis project. UK, wow. Amazing. I've never been outside of the States. And it's really awesome that I've worked with a lot of people across like the globe, including UK. I've had UK clients, but I go exclusive to Memphis now. So very cool. Thank you for watching the stream and tuning in. It's really cool. I hope that even though I'm a psychopath, that you enjoy what I'm doing, and that if you tune back in, you find something useful. If you are a Unreal Engine developer or a 3D modeler, my drafting teacher always told me there are 6 different ways to do everything. So maybe I will find you after my stream is done, and I'll watch some of your videos if you decide to upload similar content, and I would love to learn from anything that you might upload. But peace, take care. All right, let's push forward. I think I need, this looks pretty good. I think there's a couple of things I can do to really enhance this and make it look more accurate to the real thing. But we're just going to focus now on doing these windows. And just kind of keep this simple. And we're going to make it look as accurate as possible from, you know, just kind of from enough of a distance that we know that our player isn't going to get like super close to see all these unfinished details. We kind of just want it to look all right from a distance. And we'll get the basic silhouette with windows, the basic footprint, the height of the building, and some basic textures, so that we can finish out like this stretch of road, and then we will come back later and add more finer details. I love how he called me out for not using Blender, but man, I've been there. And I certainly do need to re-up on my Blender skills, but right now I don't have time to be in learning mode because part of this project is for I wouldn't say like a top secret campaign that I'm working on for someone, but which I can't go into detail. Let's figure out how I want to build this window though. It looks like there is an I-beam. Looks like there's an I-beam on either side of this window and above it. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're just going to create a not to scale I-beam. And when I say not to scale, like I mean it's definitely not going to be to scale. So let me polygroup edit this. I would imagine that it's going to be the same height. We can pretend that this is correct. And it appears as though this door, okay, it's not shorter. The door is not shorter. It's just, so let's transform from the top of the door down to the bottom of this. And that gives me exactly where my ground is supposed to be. So I need to do a polygroup edit and push this into the ground. Let's get it just close enough for now. Because if I try to get like too precise, the engine is going to get pissed off. And we can stick with that. We can say that it's good. I don't think anything else got screwed up in the process of doing that. So let's go ahead and merge these. Yeah, buddy. And then we're gonna have to fix that ground a little bit later. But this gives me a more accurate space at the top of the window, which is what I really needed to go for. And I would say that this is an appropriate scale for now of this little I-beam situation I got going on here. So let me polygroup edit this and then insert, like, let's see what 24 edge loops looks like. What about 20? What about 15 or 16? Yeah, I'd say that would work. So here's what I'll do real quick is I'm going to do an inset to about here. And then I'm going to do a push pull. We really, it almost doesn't matter what the interior looks like because nobody's going to go in there. So let's just get some little bit of detail here. And then we'll push pull this one away as well as this one. And if I want to make changes, I certainly can. But we're gonna leave it at that. And then I'll grab this same material. And like that looks good enough. It's not like we're gonna have architectures like, or architects like playing this game and dissecting it. So let's copy paste this, rotate it 45, and then let's convert it. So we got to go back into modeling mode and do a conversion. And then we can polygroup edit. And let's find the bottom. Okay. And now I can edit pivot and center it and then copy paste. I think it is still oriented appropriately. So all I have to do now is go to transform. Let's use this outer edge as a reference to lock it to this wall. And boom. Like very simple. We know that an I-beam would have to sit on top of another I-beam for support. There we have it. Easy, breezy, beautiful. Who's watching from Facebook? Expose yourself. Who's watching from Twitch? Say what's up. And what are you watching on? Are you on a cell phone right now? People really think I'm crazy. Like they really think I'm crazy. Like, you're crazy. What makes you think you can like do something like that all by yourself? I don't know, I'm delusional. Transform. Can you imagine if I wasn't delusional? Trying to figure out where I want this one to be, and I think it's going to be closer to the center of this. So let's just eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect. it raining? Man, that's the perfect sleep weather. Heck yeah, it is. It's raining real good too. Let's let some of that light in real quick so I can see some of that rain. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that those chat bots might be an issue. If I can even call them that. Wait a minute. I was wondering why this felt off. Okay, that's not a 90-degree angle. That's the other thing about Unreal Engine is like a lot of these games are built with the engine's constraints in mind. So when you're recreating a new city, you have to consider that the topography and the building designs are not going to be in unit constraints. Like most of these buildings don't have 90-degree angle corners. So that's also been a bit of a challenge. So let's place this here, and then let's do a little rotation here, and then we can move this back in place and it's going to be correct. But at the end of the day, all of this is math. It's not quick math, but it's definitely math. All right, what else do we need to do? All right, this one should be simple. So I'll take this, we copy and paste it, we do a transform. We want to transform up to the top edge. Okay, and I think those are the only two that go, well, maybe there's one at the bottom. So let's do a copy paste, transform. I'm gonna go from the bottom. I'm gonna take that down to the floor. And then I have to convert, polygroup edit, and then move this to the inside of the door. Yep. And this should be the same size as the other. So let's find this and turn it off. All right, I hear skipping in the music, so it sounds like we're gonna go to Sims. Let's copy, paste, and transform. All right, perfect. Got my horizontals. Let's get my verts. Let's go into this 3D snapping helper. Copy, paste. Okay. And then go back into modeling mode and convert it so that we can modify it. Okay, polygroup edit it. So I know for a fact we're going to need one next to the door. And let's see how many are divided. We need one in the middle of both of these. And that should be an easy task if I first create another box. So I can go copy, paste, convert, polygroup edit. Let's just move this over here. And then insert one edge loop. And then grab this face and push it away. And that gives me my center. And this should be centered. So all I have to do is copy, paste, transform, and attach it here. And then I can grab this in the snapping helper mode and copy, paste, and move it here. Now I can delete. Actually, I'll probably keep that. And then I'm going to grab it at the top. And duplicate it. And see if we can snap it here. And then I'm just going to stretch it out. And then do the same thing from the bottom. And then I'll grab all three of these. And I will go to modeling and union. And then polygroup edit. I wonder why it's doing that. Started snapping to random points that I never like that aren't actually vertices. But okay. Now grab them both. I guess that's about as straight as it'll get. Let's just get it all the way out here real quick. And that way we kind of have some windows. So what glass are we using? Let's copy that and go into material editor. And that pretty much gives us exactly what we need, minus a couple of pieces for the bottom. So let's copy and paste and polygroup edit. And then let's move that one down into place. I would say somewhere around here. And then we'll do the same thing, except this time we'll just use the transform tool. All right, let's probably group edit that real quick. And then transform this one. Yep. Now, ultimately, what I can do is just take all of these and some of them, I'm sure I can move. Let's copy paste. Let's move them over here. And then we can come back at some point and modify those. But union. I'd say that's a pretty great start. Before trying to add detail to this, I'm just going to change the color of the material at the least. And that gives us a little more detail. I do want to adjust, so I can go ahead and make a union of these windows. And then project the UVs. For now, I'll keep these I-beams separate. I think these windows could have gone a little thicker, but I'm gonna keep them as is. Give it a union. And stick with that. Oh. I wish you could hear my neck. Now, I could use a really light brick. Let's see what this brick looks like in the sun or on this building. So let's grab this, edit material, add a material, use number 2, and then let's do a angle filtered selection. And let's limit our selection only to the facade for now. And this is all brick also, so I don't know that this part really matters that much. We're gonna go inside the sides of the windows as well. The Sims build music is so nostalgic. I can feel myself just like playing The Sims just by listening to this. I don't know what y'all can hear, but I've got Sims build mode music playing, and it is fantastic. Again, this is, I don't know how many days in a row I've done this, but man, I thoroughly am enjoying this classic. Now, does this go on the side of the building as well, and how far, if so? Looks like it does. Except for right here, it looks like, yeah, I guess it does kind of go here too. So we're just gonna go all out. And if we need to change any other building color later, we can do that. So let's assign active material. Accept. And then project UVs, auto line, 250, 250, 250. Turn on that 45. Definitely not the same color, but it's a start. I think I also want to do the interior the same. Can't really see anything in there. Some regular walls, but I bet the exterior walls are also brick. So let's edit materials and let's make it the same. Now, if I update the material later, everything should reflect and should have no issues. I think I need to get the inside of the doors also. Even though you can't see anything here. Wow. Okay. Got a couple materials that I need to create, but I think for the most part, like, this is looking very solid. This and this I may not be needing anymore. I don't know. I can't tell. Let's keep it there for now. And then let's modify. Oh, I'm going to have to modify this anyway. So let's see what moves when I modify this. Just my UV. That's fine. We can fix that later. But I do believe that this goes up a hair. Although the top of the building, or the top, is aligned with this, but the door does go up. So let's copy this over. Let's transform middle mouse button to reposition a gizmo, and then left mouse with control to put it here kind of on the floor. Looks like my gizmo needs to go down a little more too, so and then right click, transform, mirror X. Let's see what the rotation of this was. Shift right click on the rotation in the details panel, and then shift left click to paste it. And then we'll do a 360 rotation here. And I believe that we're still going to need to use, oh man, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's looking like this is not where it's supposed to be, because we are going to have to copy these three over. And then do a transform. And then these two I will union. Let's try to move this door down and see what kind of a difference it makes. I think that's pretty accurate. So transform. Yep. There's a slight gap in there. I don't know if we can swing that though. Let's complete. Transform. Sometimes you just have to remember you can hold control So maybe copy an item's position. And I think what I'm gonna have to do is take all of, oh no. So we're gonna have to polygroup and modify this real quick. So complete, polygroup edit, grab all of this. And let's see if we can get it centered at least. Uh-oh. Gizmo's not facing the orientation. It should be. Huh. Use transform on this as well. And then we'll have to use the polygroup edit tool on this. But before I do, I can edit the pivot real quick. And then modify that pivot. Whoops. Well, where's the pivot at now? I have no idea what just happened. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Edit pivot. This way I can do a polygroup edit to these windows. And simply move them into position. Now, all that said and done, we can now move this and try to make it flush with these. I say that's pretty accurate. This music reminds me of all the mods I downloaded for The Sims. Oh boy, and did I have a lot of them. Custom furniture, custom like skins and interactions, nudity. Yeah, I was that kid that installed the what is it called? No Blur mod for all of my Sims games. All right, so let's do a copy paste. First, I want to get this door moved into position. So transform. Okay, and then maybe I can get rid of all of these. Let's polygroup edit this. Let's go into 3D helper, copy paste, 45 degree, boom. Do the same thing for this, boom. And let's copy paste. This time, convert and polygroup edit. Heck yeah, that looks about right. Got one on the left and right. But I do believe this door has to go all the way to the edge. I don't think there is a window over there, so let's transform the door. And then copy paste and transform this beam. And it looks like it's separated by one beam that's in the center of this. So let's copy paste, convert, polygroup edit, insert edge loop, single loop, push pull. Okay, and then let's take this, copy paste and transform to here, complete, polygroup edit this window. We want it to have the same thickness as this one. And then something definitely feels like it's off here, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Okay, insert edge loop. I need to take a quick phone call. BRB. Phone call over. Oh no, I just saved a bookmark. Ah, man. Control and the number saves the bookmark. UPOS. Definitely not what I wanted to do, but okay. Let's do a little something like that. Control 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. That's it. Have to fix my bookmarks a little bit. And I need to copy this and transform it from here to here. Perfect. Uh-oh. Let's fix these. I think I can just change one and it should fix all the others. All right. Nope. Oh, yeah, it did fix them all, but they're just now in the wrong place. Okay. Whoops. Here's what we do. We undo that. We take all of these. We union them and then do a polygroup edit and bring them all up at the same time. Then we union those. And then we delete the material, grab. Since when did I, oh, T allows translucent selection. Now I know. I think this glass needs to be something around. Let's see. Let's just make it really big and accept. And that gives me almost everything. We are definitely making our way downtown. Y'all want to hear me make a phone call while I'm live? We're going to call my boy back. See if he's busy. What do you do, man? Sleeping, ain't it? Heard that. That's where I need to be.
Bro. You out there in Jonesboro, though.
Yeah, man.
Out there, man. They ain't got that level of luxury out there.
What was that? Say that again.
I said, they ain't got no gyms out there in Jonesboro. No luxury out there.
Oh no, man.
It ain't no mosquitoes, man.
Oh no, man. Now where I'm at,
Ain't no mosquitoes out there, man.
there's definitely some skeeters in this joint, though. You ain't wrong about that.
That's so lit. They got the monster dust out there, boy.
Man, it's a whole bunch of them out here. They be hanging out on the porch.
I'm telling you. It's dangerous, bro. That's yours.
Huh?
They block.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm just calling, checking up on you. That's all good. Making my runs and seeing what everybody up to, making sure everybody good.
I'm good, bro. Locked in on
Yeah.
doing really good on my fitness and whatnot. And yeah, man, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I'm live streaming right now. So I got you in the stream. Anything you want to say to the people?
Keep your head up, man. Keep your head up. Fix your habits. Work on your habits. Work on your habits.
Yeah, that's the one I need to hear too. Yeah.
Work on your habits, bro. You fall to the level of your systems. Get your systems together, fall. Get your routine together. Get your routine together.
Yes, sir.
Keep it together. Keep adding to it and tweaking it and making it better, man.
Yes, sir.
What are you working on the stream? Are you working on metaverse stuff?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's keeping me productive.
Yeah, man. It's a good way to do things, bro.
Yeah. Coming along, man.
I know. So you're working on Union Ave the other day. Like, oh Lord, that's a doozy. A lot of stuff on Union Ave.
Oh yeah. But you know, this is giving me really good practice for some of the buildings I really want to pick back up, like the like Bass Pro.
Right.
I really want to finish Bash Pro to where you can walk around it and see everything that it has to offer.
There's a lot of details.
Yes, yes. So I took a break from that because I originally started modeling it in the game engine. Then I moved over to SketchUp, which was easier at the time. But now I picked up a project. I can't give details about it, but one of the reasons I'm working on the project, on the metaverse project now, is because I picked up a project that kind of encompasses it. But being on these streams for 12 and 24 hours straight, I've forced myself to learn different methods of building these buildings directly in the engine. And I have a great game plan and methodology now for what I want to do with some of the buildings on Main Street that has me excited. So, yeah, man.
I mean, last time you were in a real streaming flow. A lot of things unlocked for you, bro. So
Yeah.
stay there.
Where did you catch me on Facebook or what?
Yeah, that's where I got a notification. I don't know where else. I know I saw something.
Yeah.
I haven't been as chronically online lately. But I know I saw something the other day on Facebook or Instagram. I do one of the two.
Yeah, I was on both. I've figured out like how to get the stream going on like several channels at once, and I didn't know Instagram had the option for me to go live from desktop, so that's super nice.
You can, I think through OBS you can do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do a lot. That's live streaming, but it's more popular than ever, for sure. For sure. But then, man, let me jump up here and get to this workout, bro. I'm dropping a lot of weight, and we're really good on that, so I'm trying to stay locked in, and this is
That's good.
I gotta get through this. Gotta get through this crazy leg workout. I got a personal trainer, and I gotta do what I gotta do.
Heard.
Not to kick my ass, but I'm in good shape now. I'm about to be basically back down on the weight I was at Highland Road, but with muscle mass.
That's good.
And good mental health.
Well, so. Hell yeah, man. Good to hear that. Keep it up. I'll holler at you.
All right. I will wish you.
Peace. Love you.
Peace. Peace.
My son is having a pool day. That's awesome. And I'm eating chips once again. Buddy said, "Get on Blender, you psychopath." Oh, that was funny. I'm like, dude, I have tried doing this in Blender. And at some point, I'm probably going to hire somebody to help me do this in Blender. Okay, so here's what I'll do real quick is create another box and just do a quick polygroup edit. These booleans are some of the easiest ways to make rapid changes to a mesh. Set the projection to 500 or no, 250. And then use this brick texture and then do the Boolean. Now, polygroup edit and just make those changes, copy paste, give it a 45, and then polygroup edit again. Oh, hell. Well, oops. Okay, I forgot to convert. And that's okay. Let's just fix that. Ah. All right, now. Union. Undo. Made a little bit of a mistake. It happens. Just check for errors. Grab this window. Actually, no, I'm just going to grab another box. Quick and easy. Grab both of these meshes and delete the material. Grab this glass material and paste it on there. And then grab this. Technically it's a plastic material, but it doesn't really matter. And then let's edit the material. UV. Let's take all my glass and make it a union. And let's take all of my framing. I think there was one minor issue here with this being a little lower and having another little section under it. So let's go ahead and union this. Give it a sec. And what I can do here is polygroup edit, do a push pull. And let's say bring this down to about there. Polygroup edit with this. It looks like it made it all. Oh, well, that stinks. So let's forget it for now. And let's save it. and it's not perfect, but it's pretty dang good. And it's enough to kind of get the ball rolling in the right direction. I'm going to take this material for now and use it on a few parts of this building. Just to see kind of what it looks like. Even though that doesn't really match like I need it to. What I can do in the meantime, though, is I can copy this brick material and let's just preview it on this building. Even though it's more of a white, we can go back and change it later. I don't know. I'm honestly just not feeling that. And I don't know that I have a brighter one right now. So what I could do is grab, where's that material that I had on this? Let's grab this. It's kind of a beige. And let's see what that looks like on here. Yeah, still kind of strange, but that's closer to the color we need, ever so slightly. And we'll come back and edit that a little bit later. And this is what I wanted it to look like. I am going to have to do something about this lot. All right, buildings. 634 Union is where this is. So let's figure out which meshes need to go in the 634 Union folder. So this can be deleted. Drop that down to about there. This is supposed to act as like a parking lot. And then I need to figure out what rooftop we need. So I think this one is white. So let's grab this roof texture. And let's modify this material. Add the roof texture here. And then assign active material. And then I can go to transform UVs. Let's see what this lines up to. I'll take it. Let's see what happens if we go to transform. Does it give it the right pivot? Yeah. And then the floor is almost in the right spot. Or maybe it is. Let's see, polygroup edit these. Perfect. I really need to figure out my camera settings to get that background blurred again. But there we have it. I know you didn't just put me under the ground. Come on, Unreal. What you doing, cousin? At some point, I'm going to have to bring a vehicle in here and start just driving around this joint. But it looks good. It feels good. Although I do wonder, as I look up at my Twitch, why these people's faces are popping up. lot of optimization to do here. It's supposed to be a big empty lot. It's weird how when you step back, I feel like if I run forward, I'm gonna run into that thing. Yeah, can I get a large pepperoni boat? Can I get one of them pepperoni boats that they used to serve at the lunch table at the in the lunchroom in high school? Let me get a boat. One of them boat pieces, boat shape. Oh, and then there was the octagon sausage joints. Oh my lord, them joints was delicious. I think well, yeah, there was the octagon pizza, and then there was the pizza that was shaped like a boat. It's round on one side and then like flat on the other, like a big piece of bread that they just made a pizza inside of. All right, Slim. You're looking good, although we need to get new brick textures for you. And I need to finish these little awnings. Not gonna be worried about the back for now. But I'm satisfied with the quality of this. I might take a night shot and see what this place looks like at night. But it's nice to run through it, run around, and kind of get this feel, get a sense of scale. Gotta make some garage doors for this building. Looks like I'm missing a texture on the inside of that wall, but maybe we're gonna keep it as is. Waiting to make the windows for this one. I can actually run through here. I don't think I can go through this big one. Oh yeah, I can. A lot of optimizations that still need to be done, but it's fun to see the progress. I think these circles used to show the number of each bay. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bays, 6 bays. I'm pretty sure that those were numbers. It's a real place. Okay then. Well, pretty satisfied with that. Now I'm going to go and test out some augmented reality stuff. Then I think I'm going to spend the rest of the day figuring all of that out, which is going to be pretty fun. Thank y'all for joining the stream. Hope y'all have enjoyed watching me throw some stuff together. It's been fun. I'll be back soon. Till next time.